Hello, my name is Claire Windsor. I work for the Royal Shakespeare Company as a sound technician and sound designer. As part of the Finding Your Future campaign, I'm partnering with DFN Foundation and NSF to tell you about what I do for a living, and maybe share some motivational tips and advice about keeping you on your pathway to employment. In my role as sound technician, on a theatre show I am responsible for mixing any live music and radio mics on actors. I will also be responsible for playing back sound effects. We will be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of the equipment that we use. And I also liaise with other departments and creative teams to bring all the audio aspects of a show together. In my role as sound designer, I am part of the creative team that is bringing a real multi-sensory experience to the audience. So I could be making sound effects, I could be creating soundscapes, I could be working with a composer, all to kind of make this sound world that an audience member will experience when they go to a show. As a technician and designer, I get to experience the best of both worlds really as part of my job. I get to get really hands-on with the equipment, as well as get to be really creative. So no 2 days are the same, and it means that I have a huge amount of variety in my day-to-day work. So as an example of what I could be doing day to day, I could be repairing equipment in a workshop, maybe doing some soldering and sorting out broken cables. I could be in the studio recording voiceovers from actors. I could be on my computer using various bits of software to either make a sound effect that I might need or find a sound effect from huge sound libraries that you can find in various places. I could then spend quite a lot of time editing these sounds to make a soundscape. I could be at a mixing desk programming the next show, so making sure I've got the right number of channels, making sure the desk works to bring audio in and out. I could be going to meetings to discuss shows coming up in the future and what the technical needs for the shows may be, and also what the creative needs of the show may be. And then I could be working with other departments in the Royal Shakespeare Company. I work with education a lot to collaborate with schools and various outreach projects, so people get to experience Shakespeare and the technical disciplines for the first time. And we work with students and teachers quite closely to get people involved in what we do. The hardest bit maybe about my job is that the hours are a little bit antisocial. Sometimes I'll be working in the evenings and the weekends when a lot of people will be at home relaxing or maybe out with their friends. But that's the nature of theatre, where we're here to make the work for people to enjoy in the evenings and weekends. So that's just the way it goes. It does mean that I get some time off when people are normally at work, so it works both ways really. When things get tough, what keeps me going is the knowledge that what we do for a living, what lots of people do for a living, is art, whether that's film or TV or theatre. We're doing something that brings so much joy and is so integral to a happy life really. Like, what would we be doing? Life would be really boring without being inspired by what we see on TV or what we go and watch or what we go and see in galleries. And it's not just about spectators, people can get involved in this. They could be doing amateur dramatics, they could be doing podcasts at home, they could be doing anything that is creative and what it is to be human really. So when those hours are getting long and the days are getting even longer, it's nice to remind ourselves that this is what makes us human. I got into this job because of my love for music. I started off at quite a young age playing various instruments, and through music I discovered this whole world behind the scenes So not everyone wants to be on stage and performing, but there's lots of people who support those people on stage, those persons performing, and that world really appealed to me, because as well as being technical, you can still be creative in that world, and you're working together as like a bigger team to bring these experiences together. There's something about live music and live theatre that I don't think you get anywhere else. You know, there's something about seeing the connection between people on stage, you know, live night after night, in the same way that when you see a band play and you see things that every performance is different, and so that's kind of that's how I got into what I do for a living. Training for a job like this comes in all shapes and sizes. You don't have to be involved in music or be able to play musical instruments. That's just how I got into it. My GCSEs and A-levels were in completely unrelated subjects, but because I enjoyed playing music and got work experience through the music industry and through venues, I ended up doing a degree in sound technology, which gave me a really good basis of what I need to do for what I need to know for a living. That degree could have taken me down various different paths. It wasn't necessarily related to theatre, and the same goes for any other training. The main thing I think is to try and get work experience in various disciplines that you enjoy doing. So this could be offering your services at a theatre near you, or getting involved with amateur dramatics. It could be a music venue, or radio stations if you are interested in kind of broadcasting. The list is endless. You just have to be tenacious and friendly, and be punctual, and just keep trying, because eventually you'll get a break. So in a typical week, my hours are roughly about 48 hours a week. That's the average. Some weeks are lower than that, and some weeks are higher than that, because when we're putting on a show ready to go live to audiences, the hours are quite long and will be in daytimes and evenings. But then once that show goes live, the hours kind of go back to being a bit more relaxed, and so we have these kind of lovely ebbs and flows. When I was going on about no 2 days are the same, that's how it works. You know, we end up having quite busy periods, and then quieter periods, which can work quite nicely. I have made lots of friends through work. The thing about theatre is that because we are working strange hours sometimes, you find that the people you are thrown together with in the theatre end up kind of becoming your family and your friends. Everyone knows what the pressures can be like, and the people that you end up working with tend to be quite like-minded people, hopefully. So I would say, yes, I've made most of my close friends work in theatre. My first ever job in this industry was in a recording studio in Rochdale. I was really good at making tea for the artists that came in to record with us, and eventually I was put in charge of lining up the analogue tape recorders for the sessions. I learned to coil cables really well, and I also learned how to stack mic stands really effectively. It was a brilliant first job with a house engineer and producer who is still a friend and mentor to this day. Without that job and without that person, I don't think I'd be where I am now. In terms of advice for getting into this line of work, I can go on about work experience, and I think I have done already. So it's really important to try and get experience in the field, whether that's paid experience or volunteering. But also, and I think that is really important, is to really learn your craft. And what I mean by that is, I think this kind of industry makes people really passionate about what they do, and we're all really passionate about what we do. So if you really learn the craft of whatever industry you want to go in, that will shine through, the passion will shine through, and that will become apparent to employers in the future. So at this point in time when we can be maybe developing tools for self-improvement, there's some really interesting and free online resources out there available. And depending on what you're interested in, depends on what you can maybe do at home at the moment. So what I'm going to do is put a list of websites on the end of this video. There's various software companies that are making their software free at the moment. There's online platforms that allow you to get free tutorials on even like playing an instrument, so you can learn how to play the guitar. You could do music theory, which can be really helpful for working with composers in the future, or even making your own compositions. And various audio companies who are doing webinars and free online tutorials in various different fields, whether that's kind of learning about communications, audio protocols like Dante. So it's really good to go on the internet and have a look at any tutorials and resources that are available at the moment, because lots of people are making these platforms free. Don't forget, there's lots of theatre companies out there that are also making content available online at the moment. So the Royal Shakespeare Company will be providing shows that you can watch. The National Theatre is putting shows on YouTube that you can be inspired by. Andrew Lloyd Webber is releasing a musical every weekend, so it doesn't have to be your self improvement and keeping in with what you're interested in doesn't necessarily have to be like hard work. You can just enjoy the art and feel inspired by what you see, by what shows that you see. So keep an eye out for not just the big theatres, but also smaller theatre companies and arts companies posting online content for you to either just watch or to also get involved with. Hopefully this video has kept you interested in our industry and maybe given you some things to look for. If you have any questions for future videos, please ask on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. If you use the hashtag #FindingYourFuture tag and tag the DFN Foundation, then we can find you. Thanks for watching and good luck for the future.